Welcome back. You are tuned in to Traders Nation. My pleasure to have with us here today co-author Randy Commissar. Getting to Plan B is the name of the book, Breaking Through to a Better Business Model. Randy, welcome to Traders Nation. How are you today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Randy, you know, in today's market environment, really rough out there, I don't know if it's a good idea to reinvent the wheel, but should the approach to the wheel be to improve it?
That's a really good question, and what John and I have done in getting to Plan B is to take that very approach. The notion that what you really need to do is stand on the shoulders of others.
Sure.
You don't need to go off and fail the way that others have failed before. You need to learn from their failures. You need to learn from their successes. Ask yourself the right questions, and put together a process, we call it dashboarding, a process by which you test those against the marketplace in real time.
You know, I got to agree with you, because I think the sooner and faster you can hit the ground running, and that's the key word here, hit the ground running, the better off and better chance any business model has to succeed. All right?
You are absolutely right. The problem with most business plans, and I'm a venture capitalist, I see these things day in and day out, is that they're based on a series of assumptions. And the goal then for the team is get your money and then execute against those assumptions.
Sure.
Well, I don't think that's the right way to go. What you really need to do is build your plan, understand the core questions that need to get answered, and then direct yourself towards a flexible process of answering those specific questions with real data from customers.
Now, Randy, on a sidebar note, how's the VC business doing?
Well, we could do better if we had more IPOs, and hopefully we'll start to see the public markets open up to new issues in the last half, if not the beginning of 2010. With the IPO market healthy, the venture capital market's healthy. When the IPO market's not healthy, the venture capital market suffers.
A little M&A going on, but not a lot. I don't know. I'm waiting to see on all this. All right, so let's talk about guiding your flight progress. How should we map that out?
Well, the way that we like to do it is you start with identifying the problem. A lot of guys come in and they tell me what the technology can do, but they don't tell me why they're doing it and why anybody cares. So by starting with the core problem you're trying to solve, you can then come up with what you think your distinguished solution is, your product or your service. That then should lead to the first level of empirical investigation, of going out and trying to find out who's tried to solve that problem before, and what's failed and what's worked and why. That's that, alluding back to your initial question, where can we learn from the market without having to take that responsibility on ourselves?
Yeah. Now, mapping out that flight of progress, it's almost like a book, isn't it? You got the beginning, you got the end, you got the middle, and then you got the end, right?
Well, we call it the dashboard, and in the dashboard, there is a beginning, and it's called the leap of faith questions. Those questions you couldn't answer from the experience of others that are critical to your success. In the middle, we have the metrics, and those are the things that we can go out and measure that will tell us what the answers are to those questions. And at the end, we have what we call the reaction or response, and that is, how are we going to course correct based upon that answer? What's key here, though, Kurt, is that if you come back with an answer that turns out to be not what you expected, that's not failure. If, in fact, you can successfully course correct.
Yeah, that's discovery, though. I mean, that's part of the process, isn't it? And there's something that's like, wow, that's discovery. I got to figure this out because that's another angle.
Well, absolutely right. But think how few people in business think of it that way. When people in business run into an answer that they didn't expect, they usually consider that to be a failure. I agree with you. I consider it to be great data.
Sure. All right. Now, during this process, we get along, but we run into rocks and hard places. What's the best way to avoid them?
The best way to avoid the rock and a hard place is to operate off of real empirical data from the marketplace, to talk to real customers, and to build a flexible process to course correct as you get that information in place.
Right. All right. Now, cash is still king, I'm hoping. No matter how much they print it, cash is still king. How can we encourage customers to pay on time or maybe even early? Because that's important. Once we start getting going, we got the process going, we're making money, we have to get these customers to pay on time. Is it possible to even get them to pay early?
Well, the working capital notion, the idea that you're going to have to be able to figure out how to get other people's money early into the company, and there's two ways to do that. One is an investment, which means that I'm going to have to go out and sell part of my company, give up part of control.
Right.
The other one is get your customers to pay early. Think about this, and think about the Amazon model. Before Amazon started, bookstores had to go off and agree to pay their publisher within 30 days, and those books sat on their shelves a lot longer than that.
Right.
Amazon came up with the approach that said, you give me your credit card, you give me your order, I'll then go buy the book, and then I'll send it to you. I'll actually have negative working capital.
Right. How important is it for a company to keep a low inventory?
It's very important, particularly in these times, because you're going to have to be very, very responsive to the market. You can't tie up a lot of your assets in inventory, but on the other hand, you've got to be ready to fulfill your customers' needs when they have them, or you're going to lose that customer.
All right, now let's move on to the business investment model, okay? How much cash is a business supposed to spend up front, or expected to spend, before even enough customers can cover the cost of the business? So what kind of cash outlay are they expected to have?
Well, of course, it depends on the business. The cute answer is as little as possible.
Right.
The reality is that with this model that John and I propose in getting to Plan B, we hope to minimize the amount of time and the amount of dollars that go into resolving the critical questions, the leap of faith questions for your business. Why is that important? Because every time I eliminate one of those questions, I remove risk. And every time I remove risk, I increase the value to an investor. And every time I increase the value to an investor, I reduce the dilution that I'm going to incur when I take their money.
Nice. Randy, if there was one thing in getting to Plan B that just really stands out, you want everybody to know about, what would it be?
I'd say it's really about two things, the process and the content. The process being this dynamic dashboard responsive process, the content being things like cash flow, working capital, investment model, those things that need to come together to build your business model, those need to be addressed systematically. They need to be addressed in a flexible way, and you need to build your business from day one to get to Plan B.
Where can we get a copy of Getting to Plan B today?
Today you can get it right at Amazon.
Amazon.com. Head on over there today. Get a copy of Getting to Plan B, Breaking Through to a Better Business Model. Co-author today, Randy Commissar, is with us today. Randy, thanks for your time. Do you have a website?
It's my pleasure. Yes, it's gettingtoplanb.com with hyphens between all the words.
Very nice. Getting to Plan B with hyphens between all that.com. Randy, thanks for your time today on Traders Nation. Appreciate it.
It was my pleasure.
You're more than welcome. Get a copy today. Getting to Plan B, Breaking Through to a Better Business Model. Very, very good book. Harvard Business Press has put it out too, by the way. And I tell you what, very essential in today's competitive market, brutal market, and sometimes topsy-turvy market. If you're in business, you should get a copy of this, all right?